also alluded to the spiritual battle that we are in.
Yeah.
And anybody has a problem with the devil, with the demonic, I would encourage them to read M. Scott Peck, the great Connecticut psychiatrist book, People of the Lie.
Amazing book.
Isn't it? And I think he does an incredible job pointing out, if you look at the My Lai massacre and you walk away saying, oh, that was just human beings messing up, you're out of touch with reality, bud. There is a spiritual force of evil that is at work in the My Lai massacre.
Acting on people from outside and influencing their behavior.
That's exactly right. And that's why Jesus cast demons out of people. It's why Paul writes in Ephesians chapter 6, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. There's a spiritual battle that is raging. And whether it's Paul, Jesus, or M. Scott Peck, they're all saying the same thing. Open your eyes and realize there's this personal force of evil called Satan. C.S. Lewis put it beautifully when he pointed out there are two mistakes you can make in your thinking about the devil. One is to make too much of him. Oh, the devil's behind every tree.
Yes.
The devil always does it. Everything's the result of the devil's doing. That's to make too much of him. But the other's to make too little of him. Oh, you know who the devil is? The little dude in the red jumpsuit with a little black pitchfork and black ears. Ah, ha, 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 ha. What a ridiculous stereotype. No, the devil is a very suave, very debonair, personal force of evil who reeks of evil and destructiveness that's scary.
I think everything you said is true, and I think every honest person can feel it, no matter what your religious faith. We are being acted on from the outside by unseen forces all the time. And it's our job to resist or obey, depending on the force, of course. But the message in some ways is exculpatory, though. I think. I mean, it's not an entirely judgmental message. It's like, actually, you are being acted on by outside. Pawn is probably too strong, but you're still. I mean, Judas betrays Jesus and then dies.
Yep.
On the other hand, it says really clearly Satan enters him.
Yep.
So he's like a bad guy stealing money from the other 11 and all that, for sure. I'm not defending Judas, of course, but he is also in some sense like he exists to fulfill a prophecy. He is kind of in some ways like not fully a player. He's, I don't want to say victim, but do you see what I'm saying?
That's an issue that a lot of people raise. How can there be free will and God be sovereign and all-powerful? What's going on here? Who's pulling the levers? Often a passage out of Exodus that's brought up is, the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart. So did Pharaoh really have a choice in the matter? 6 times before we read in Exodus, the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, we read, Pharaoh hardened his heart.
Yes. No, that's right.
So I think we got to be careful with this one. Yes, God is all-powerful, but I agree with C.S. Lewis that God chose to partially limit his power by giving us a free will. If I haul back, slap you in the face, and then say, oh, Tucker, God made me do it. You know I'm a con artist. I'm a hypocrite. I'm a liar. God gave me a hand. He gave me the hand to respect you, to love you. But because he gave me a free will, I can roll this hand into a fist and send it crashing into your handsome face. And if I blame God, I'm a con artist. I'm a liar. So I would argue that, yes, God is all-powerful, but God has chosen to partially limit his power by giving us free will. Why didn't God have Hitler's mother have a miscarriage? I don't know. Seems to me it would have saved a lot of lives. But God has chosen to limit his power by giving us a free will. Now, the day of judgment is coming when God will hold me responsible for the way I exercised my free will. So I'm not just free to go out and do whatever and never be held responsible. I am responsible for what I do, and God will guarantee that justice ultimately triumphs, for there will be a day of judgment.
The lesson that I take from the My Lai Massacre, you're talking about the Scott Peck book. Did you know him, by the way?
No.
Scott Peck?
No.
You live in Connecticut, so I just...
Did you?
I never met Scott Peck.
Yeah.
He's gone now. But amazing.
Yes.
And complicated person, but really insightful person. The fact that a Connecticut psychiatrist could wind up writing a book like that.
No kidding.
Yeah. He did not play to type.
Right.
But the lesson that I take from the My Lai massacre is these were like Callie and the rest of them, pretty ordinary guys. Like, I don't think they had histories of mass murder before they got to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And yet they wound up committing just that and murdering women and children, and it was murder. The lesson that I take is that, like, any of us is capable of that, including me.
Correct.
And so the temptation is to, when you see somebody doing something really awful, like, I would never do that. I try to remind myself, I think we all should, that, like, under certain circumstances, I'd probably do anything.
Yep. Same here.
And I think that's true. What does that tell us about people?
Well, this is where a lot of people have trouble with the Bible. The whole issue of a sinful nature.
Right.
Dallas Willard used to be head of the philosophy department at USC out in Los Angeles. And the way Dallas Willard described the sinful nature was a readiness to sin factor. We're all born with a readiness to sin factor. When I was 6 years old and playing with a little friend of mine in the sandbox, at one point I picked up the metal truck and dropped it on the little kid's head. I had never seen that behavior modeled before.
Did he deserve it?
No.
Yeah.
He offended me.
Yeah.
And I exaggerated the offense, took too great an offense at it, and dropped the metal truck on his head. Pretty sad. So, yes, we're all born in the image of God. We all have a conscience, this innate moral indicator. But we also have this readiness to sin factor. And that is part of the human dilemma. And guess what? It's part of why Blaise Pascal believed in Jesus. Because Blaise Pascal understood the glory and the wretchedness of the human being. And it's one of the reasons I do. My observation and my experience of reality is everybody does incredible good at times.
Yes.
And everybody does incredible evil at times.
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, I referred to my dad earlier. Tucker, when my dad was a Swiss Boy Scout, he was walking through the Alps with his Boy Scout troop one day, and they bumped into a group of Nazi officers. Now, I don't know if this is true, Tucker, but supposedly one of those Nazis was Adolf Hitler himself. Hitler did not cut my dad off at the knees. Hitler was very gracious to my father as a little Swiss Boy Scout. And then he went ahead and did some of the most horrible atrocities imaginable. All of us have incredible potential for good, and all of us have tremendous potential for evil.
That's so obviously true, and anyone, old enough to observe the world knows that.
Yeah.
Observe himself knows that. Why did you say that people have problems with that statement? Do you get resistance to that observation?
Oh, yeah. Because there's a type of evolutionary optimism that says we've been evolving for a long, long time. And we're at the point where we are really good people.
Really? Oh, is that right, people. Cliff? Okay.
And even Rousseau, the Frenchman, thought we were all born perfect, and it was society that corrupted us. The fascinating thing is Rousseau had his nanny dump 5 of his kids on the steps of the hospital, disowning his kids so they could either be adopted or starve to death. Wow. We're all born perfect. Is that right, Jean-Jacques Rousseau? I doubt it.